Hey everyone, today I have a game for you between Castle and myself, and this is a rematch. We had a game from a couple weeks back, I think, that we played, and it was a great game. I have a video of that also on my channel that you guys can go check out if you want to kind of get a sense for the whole series. But yeah, here's game 2. I'm running a pit book. I don't know yet what he's running. You'll come to see that as the game progresses. So, all right, let's get it started. So I'm fortunate enough to get first turn here, and I want to just try and knock him off. Interesting note about this flash I'm about to do here is you can see how the flash itself doesn't actually make contact with Castle, but there's a few pixels of room that actually basically make it so that the flash still registers as a hit. So the flash will still register, knock the player back, and send them into the water. So I knew this. I didn't know exactly how long it was, but I had guessed, oh, if I can extend, that should be enough. And I should make contact with Castle and launch him into the water. Fortunately, I think I barely got the distance right, and I did extend that. And he does fall into the water. But that's a cool thing about Flash, maybe not so many people know. So, interesting teleport by him to just kind of give up top control immediately. It is a flat map, but I'm thinking, maybe he could teleport like here, right there, and then that's pretty much not flashable, even if he blasts from the past. Even if I blast from the past him down here, it's still going to be difficult. But he doesn't do that. I glide and summon a swarm, and then he pulls out this new spell called Devil's Snare. It's from the new Book of the Wilds, or Book of Wilds. And what that does is, on summon, so it's kind of like a minion. You can summon it, and it drops to the ground. If you summon it from the air, it does 25 damage. So he summons that Devil's Snare and kills my swarm. And then each turn you'll see that the snares, those little trees, they grow in size. They multiply 2, 4, and then just a bunch of them start appearing just around this general area on the map. And with that spell, if you come within its radius, you'll see a radius too as the game progresses. Then you will take 25 damage and get stunned. So you can see how it's kind of translucent there. You can see through it. That means that something was hit by it. And you'll see now that it's his turn, the spell refreshes and it becomes opaque again. And there's 2 now. So if I come within that little red radius, I'm going to take 25 damage and be stunned. Or if a minion does, like if I run a swarm into it, then I'll be stunned as well. So yeah, like I said, he probably should have teleported up here just to compete for top control, because now I don't really know what his plan is to, gain a minion advantage or even get back up to the top. He's kind of stuck down there. Interestingly enough, he does have Water Ball, which allows him to dig, make a lot of space. And I don't really have much to do at this point because he killed my swarm. So I decide to just tower. In this book, if I remember right, I don't really have a lot to deal with someone killing my swarm early. Like, I don't have a storm spirit or anything that I could bring out. So, but because he's trapped, I can kind of afford to quote-unquote waste a turn. Also, I guess, eventually I want to pebble down, so if I'm towered and I pebble down, then I'm a little bit more protected. And yeah, you can see, look at all those snares. If I come and touch any one of those snares, I'm going to take 25 damage. So I do have aura here, which is nice. I can chip away at his swarms easily. Yeah, so I pull out the Pegasus, he pulls out a Garg, and I'm really not concerned about the Garg. at this point because it can't go anywhere. So I'm just kind of chilling at the top of the map, summoning a bunch of minions, and he's chilling at the bottom of the map, summoning a bunch of minions. And at this point, like, it's already a waiting game. We're only on turn 7, and I can pretty much do whatever I want. I just have to wait to see what his plan is. Now he comes up with a really good plan, and I'm like, oh crap, I have to really get that Garg dead immediately, because undead Gargs are brutal, because they can do so much damage. So I decided to Pebble down and kill it. Thankfully. Again, it is trapped, but still, like, it can become a threat down the line. It can also get to 100 health because he's got a swarm, he's got my aura, and the undead guard could absorb the auras that I use on him too. So it could have been pretty dicey if I had left that alive. He continues to stall. I think this is probably a good move because if he does go up to the top, I can just summon a Dark Knight, kind of try to trap him. He goes for the bones here, which is a little bit unreliable. Actually ends up helping me, because now I can protect my minions from future bones. And, you know, it's at this point that I'm starting to think, okay, how do I win? Because I have a pit book, and he doesn't seem to be in a very good position to summon his Dark Knight. And pit books are notorious for just lacking in firepower, and so I'm wondering, you know, how am I going to be able to really clinch a victory here? Because he's really never going to come up to the top. You know, at some point I have to keep digging down, I have to, you know, put some pressure on him, I can't just stay up there forever. So one strategy I started to come up with around this point was to make undead Pegasus, because I thought he only has bones, and I think with a swarm out and 2 Pegasus, and also his bones I think is on a cooldown right now for 1 or 2 more turns, I can make undead Pegasi faster than he can deal with them. And also I can hide under these bones here to protect from the aerial and just get a huge minion advantage. So now why do I want like undead versus normal Pegasus? Because then I could just, you know, get normal Pegasus out, get swarm out, and then, you know, Pebble down. But the big thing here is that I have a pit book, so if I have 2 Pegasus and 2 swarm, 2 live Pegasus and 2 swarm, and then I dig down to him and he pulls out Dark Knight, I would want to pit that, right? But if I pit that, I lose all 4 of my minions and he loses his Dark Knight. Sure, he lost his Dark Knight, but still, I just lost all my advantage. It'll probably take me another 10 turns to get, you know, 3 Pegasus or 2 Pegasus or however many I wanted that I want to be undead. But that's kind of my plan at this point. Stockpile the undead Pegasus, Pebble down to him, and then, you know, pit his Dark Knight when it comes out. And at this point I realized I'm not sure he has flight, because he's never used it. He's not stacking protection shields, and also if you have the snare, if you have some stuff from Book of Wilds, you don't really have much room to include flight in those books. So I'm feeling kind of safe, because the thing is, even if I Pebble down, that's why I Pebble down here, like let's say he could get back up, or maybe this piece of land here was open, he still probably couldn't get back up that easily because he has no flight at this point. Or I am, you know, 80% confident, 90% confident that he has no flight. So I'm feeling pretty good. Like, even if I Pebble down and he can get up, he's not going to be able to summon Dark Knight in a way that's going to really be a huge disadvantage. And if he really does, then I just pit it. It's no big deal. So, feeling pretty nice here. This is kind of a cool strategy I use to move the tower. I line up the Pegasus so I can move from this hut to that tree. I just do that so that I can have a little bit of a better angle to Pebble down. because again, I'm trying to figure out how I want to apply pressure, and also just figure out what his game plan is. Another thing that you noticed I didn't point out earlier that I did was cut off his minions, so now his swarm is trapped with a tree, and his gargoyle is trapped with a tree. If I can keep gargoyles trapped, they're just dead slots. His swarm is a dead slot right now as well. I use the Pegasus quote-unquote trick again, just kind of slide along the Pegasus to move my tower, again just to get a better pebbles angle. He towers, I'm not worried about that. I just decide to pebble down again, and he goes for the spear. That spear is just a 75 damage attack, and you just throw it, I believe, like a bolt. And yeah, the physics of it are a little bit tricky. He probably doesn't have much experience with it. Not everyone does. I would say 99% of people don't, because it's a new spell and just barely misses. Not like whether that hits or not, it's a huge deal. I would just run away and summon another minion. But he misses and I'm able to, I don't know, I think I pebble down again, or I don't know, summon another minion, try to get more undead Pegasus. Oh no, I block it with the Peg. Or no, maybe I just want to move my tower again. I'm really a fan of that. I'm just moving that tower back and forth and back and forth. The idea behind that one, and there is a reason behind all of them. It looks kind of silly though at this point. The idea behind that one was just so that he can't spear me. So he uses the bones. I mess up a little bit with the swarm myself, no big deal. It's unfortunate that this bones didn't kill the swarm, but that happens sometimes. So I tree him and he uses a snare. Not sure why he didn't flash there. I try to get the swarm down through that little hole, and I swarm myself again. I mean, I have to try it, right? It's not like it's game losing, you know. Here he water balls again. I'm not so sure the thought behind water ball, because I believe he does have flash. I could be wrong, but I think I remember him using it. But even still, I would rather have flash than water ball in a game, to be honest. Just because it's a bit more reliable. Yeah, it's not as much damage, but it's just so much more versatile, you know? So, I've got a swarm out now, and I'm thinking, okay, now I could start making more undead Pegasi and just keep swarming, hide them under the bones, as I said a few turns ago. So I put a third one up here. My plan is to literally make every single one of them undead, and at this point I'm thinking, you know, he's stuck down there. There's no way he's gonna ever be able to come back up. It is a bit irritating that he actually is able to drain the gargoyles. And then at this point I'm thinking, is this gonna be a draw? And I thought about offering a draw at this point, just because, well, he's stuck down there. Yeah, I can keep pebbling, but he'll tree, you know. He'll summon stuff to kind of block. He's got his 2 gargoyles, so, and he can just keep draining up. The R's are not really going to have an effect. And there's a prime example. I pebble down, he trees. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my plan is, but I do know that there's no way he's going to be able to come back to the top, because I have so much control now. So I do tree him again to trap the gargoyles, just keep him kind of contained. And he brings out the bones. Again, a little bit of a questionable bones. I mean, it just doesn't do that much, and it in fact helps me because I can just go to the Pegasus and get another undead Pegasus. So, I don't know, when you use bones, you have to have a plan to like trap. If you're using bones to just do damage, most of the time it's not going to work out because it's pretty much RNG how much, what direction the bones go. You might be able to, get 2 bones to hit every target with some practice, but, that's not something that a bunch of players have really adopted. So again, what's my plan? Make a bunch of undead Pegasi, and then probably use Pit. At this point I'm thinking he is not even going to have an opportunity to get Dark Knight out at all. Which is one reason that I really wanted to show you all this game, is because it's a little bit of a counterintuitive strategy that I use, but it's not something that you can always do. There I accidentally just run my swarm directly into a devil's snare. Oops, and it dies. But anyway, yeah, the main purpose of a pit book is to neutralize the opponent's Dark Knight threat. And so, 100% of you are probably thinking, oh, he's got a pit book, he's going to pit the Dark Knight at some point. But what ends up happening is, or not necessarily what ends up happening, but what I'm thinking in this moment is he's never going to get Dark Knight out, so I might end up pitting both of his gargoyles. But I'm just waiting for that moment so that I can get more undead Pegasus. He wants to make more space, and I deny it. I cut him off with the tree. And you notice I repositioned myself there again just to pebble down from a better angle. He just kind of keeps waterballing. It seems like he doesn't have much of a plan when he's trapped down there, which again kind of just speaks to his teleport. I think if he doesn't really have much to do when he's hiding, he should have teleported over here in this area at the beginning of the game, where he couldn't be flashed very easily at all. And it's at this point that he throws up the draw, because he's thinking, I'm pretty much not doing anything, he's not doing anything. He's got 2 gargoyles that he can just always drain up. And so there's not really much progress being made. But yeah, I have this sneaky plan. At this point I was starting to realize, like I said, I don't need to use Pit on the Dark Knight. I could use Pit on his gargoyles, and then pebble down to him, keep the pressure up so that he can't build up more minions, and then at that point I can just tick him down with damage from the Pegasus R's. I can get a single swarm out because I have 3 of 4 minions. So at this point I'm just trying to think about when the best time would be to do that. While the Gargs are trapped, I don't really think it's that necessary to, use Pit. But also, if I can use Pit while he's around the gargoyles, then I can get more damage on him as well. At this point I do have 300 undead Pegasi, so I'm thinking I still have a chance. It doesn't look like that on its face, but I can at least try to neutralize his minion advantage, dig down to him, and get some sort of momentum that way. So I wasn't sure if he's trying to flash up here, maybe tower, if he finally wants to contest for top. But again, it's just a matter of timing. Like, oh, and I don't remember, did he actually queue here? He might have accidentally missed a turn. Maybe he wanted a tower or drain or something. But yeah, at this point, like, to flash there in that area right here and like contest for top is just not gonna work, because I have so many minions up there. He should have done that earlier, or once he teleported, he probably should have just towered out of that, or maybe after the snare he towers to just expose himself back to the top. I can show you guys that after this game. But I decided to treat his Gargs further in, and at this point I'm preparing to pit. He misclicks that drain there, which is unfortunate, but you know, whether he gets that drain off or not is not too important at this point. You know, that's just another 60 health. But he has so many gargoyles he could just drain it back, so at this point I decide to pit, and he actually resigns here, which is interesting, but honestly I feel like he's pretty much lost at this point, because if we go back, let's see, to the end, you'll see that like I have so much control, there's nowhere that he can go, and I've already pebbled down, so there's not really many areas that he can like hide. Like, it'll just take one turn to flash, or maybe 2 turns to flash, you know, maybe this area or that area, or you know, pebble down here again, this tree right here, you know, pebble there. So like there's so many different areas that I can enter the bottom area where he is, that like he's gonna have a really difficult time stalling. Yeah, we are getting closer to turn, you know, 34, 35, but when I've got so many minions and I've got 20 turns, that's plenty of turns to just, you know, trap him with the Pegasus. And he also doesn't really have much wiggle room on the sides. Pegasus can fit there, and also just with one flash, Pegasus can fit down here as well. So it makes sense to resign in that position. But yeah, just to go back kind of as a takeaway from that game. So what he probably should have done is teleport here just to compete for top, and then when he comes up to summon this snare, right here I think it is. No, turn 5. Yeah, right here. So he could summon that snare, and then I take my turn. After that, I feel like he should flash out or water ball, or you know, because I have no swarm, so definitely should not. I believe he definitely should not like continue to hide. Just, you know, try to water ball out or flash out, or you know, kill the tree. Again, I don't quite remember if he has flash or not. I feel like I saw him use it once, but you know, even if he doesn't, here I would just probably water ball the tree just to kill it, because I want to be able to, you know, maybe tower out so that I can be exposed to the top again and I'm not hiding, rather than just kind of sit down here and chill. Especially knowing that he has no flight, he should try to compete for top as much as possible, because he's not really mobile down there. He can't do any tricky things like, oh, elevator a Dark Knight up, or you know, do shenanigans with like Ice Shield and then, you know, fly out of the Ice Shield. Like, there's just a lot less that he can do when he's not mobile. So that, I would say, is the biggest kind of lesson to learn from this game. But yeah, anyway, that was the game. Again, it ended with me basically building up 3 undead Pegasi, and I thought, well, those can't be pitted. You can't pit undead minions if you weren't aware of that, if you're a little bit newer to the game. So I decided to just build those up, and then when you pit, you're neutralizing your opponent's advantage completely, but you keep all your minions, besides my swarm. But again, 300 Pegasi is much stronger than a swarm, so just from the perspective of giving you all that top control. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and keep an eye out for future videos. If you like this commentary, throw me a like and subscribe, leave a comment, and have a good one. Peace.